Hello everyone, hope you have amazing day and welcome back to my channel. Today we discuss about the strategic management. So the concept of strategy a course of action including the specification of resources required to achieve a specific objectives. Strategic plan a statement of long-term goals along with a definition of the strategies and policies which will ensure achievement of these goals. Strategy is the direction of scope of an organization over the long term which achieves advantage in a changing environment through its configuration of resources and competence with the aim of the fulfilling stakeholders expectation also. The basic characteristics of the match an organization achieves with its environment is called its strategy. Corporate strategy is the pattern of major objectives and purposes of goals and essential policies or plans for achieving those goals and stated in such a way as to define what business the company is to be and kind of a company it is or is to be. Corporate strategy is concerned with an organization basic direction for the future, its purpose, its ambition, its resources, and how it interacts with the world in which it operates. Common themes in strategy. Now we discuss about this. From these different definition, strategy is concerned with the purpose and long-term direction of the business, the scope of an organization's activities and actions required to meet its objectives are broad or narrow, meeting the challenges from the firm's business, external environment, such as competitors and the changing needs of customer. So meeting the challenges from the firm's business, external environment, such as competitors and the changing needs of customers, using the firm's internal resources and competencies effectively and building on its strength to meet environmental challenges, delivering value to the people who depend on the firm, its stakeholders, such as customers and stakeholders to achieve competitive advantages. Whether interpretations is put on strategy, the strategic actions of an organization will have widespread and long-term consequences for the position of the organization in the marketplace, its relationship with different stakeholders and overall performance. Now discuss the various levels of strategic management. Levels of strategy. First of all, corporate strategy. The corporate center is at the apex of the organization. It is the head office of the firm and will contain the corporate board also. The planning view of strategy assumes that all strategy was formulated at corporate level and then implemented in a top down manner by instruction to the business division. During the 1980s, high profile corporate planners like IBM, General Motors, Fords ran into difficulties against newer and smaller upstarts. Now, organizations or competitors who seemed to be more flexible and entrepreneurial. One consequences was the devolutions of responsibility for competitive strategies to strategic business units. So, corporate strategy today typically restricts itself to determining the overall purpose and scope of the organization. Common issues at this level include decisions on acquisitions, mergers, and self offs or closures of business units, conduct of relations with key external stakeholders such as investors, the government, and regulatory bodies, decision to enter new markets or embrace new technologies, sometimes termed diversification strategies also, development of corporate policies on issues such as public image, employment practices, or information system, a model of the rational strategy process. Now we discuss about this. The traditional approach to strategic management is often termed the formal or rational approach and can described as a series of logical steps including the determination of an organizational mission, the setting of goals and objectives, the understanding of the organization's strategic position, the formulation of specific strategies, the commitment of resources, a continuous analysis of the external environment, and the organization's internal resource is needed in order to plan for the future development and survival of the business. This is often conceived as consisting of four major steps. Number one, analysis. Number two, implementation. Number three, formulation. And number four, monitor, review, and evaluation. This process seeks to answer questions concerning where the organization is now, where it should go in future, and how it should get there. The rational model therefore involves a number of interrelated stages. These are illustrated in figure. So, which shows the various stages which management may take to develop a strategy for their organization. The basic idea from the model is that we start with the existing strategy of the organization and evaluate it using information collected from internal and external analysis. From these, we can determine if the organization should continue with its existing strategies or formulate a new strategy that will enable the organization to compete more effectively. Having made a choice on the strategic direction, the next stage involves implementation. The the strategy and then evaluating performance to determine whether or not goals have been achieved. Each of the different stages in the model will now be elaborated. Now, first of all, mission, objectives, and goals, terms and definition. Mission, the fundamental objectives of entity expressed in general terms, that is CIMA. Overriding purpose in line with the values and expectations of stakeholders. What business are we in? Vision or strategic intent, desired future state, the aspiration of the organization. Goals mean general statement of aim or purpose, may be qualitative in nature. Objective, quantification if possible, or more precise statement of the goal. Strategies, long term direction expressed in broad statement about the direction the organization should be taking and the type of actions required to achieve objectives. So, now the role of missions statement, we discuss about this. Mission statements help at four places in the rational model of strategy: mission and objectives. The mission sets the long term framework and uh, trajectory for the business. It is the job of the strategy to progress the firm towards this mission over the coming few years covered by the strategy. Corporate appraisal, assessing the firm's opportunities and threats, its strength and its weaknesses must be related to its ability to compete in its chosen business domain. Factors are relevant only insofar as they affect its ability to follow its mission. Strategy evaluation. When deciding between alternative strategic options, management can use the mission as a touchstone or benchmark against which to judge their suitability. The crucial questions will be: does the strategy help us along the road to being the kind of business we want to be? Revive and control. The key target of the division and functions should be related to the missions. Otherwise, the mission will not be accomplished. Research conducted among companies by relevant following purposes. So, to provide a basic for consistent planning decisions, to assist in translating purposes and direction into objectives suitable for assessment and control, to provide a consistent purpose between different interest groups connected to the organization, to establish organizational goals and ethics, to improve understanding and support from key groups outside the organization. The link between mission, goals, and objectives. So, the mission is an open ended statement of the firm's purposes and strategies. Strategic goals and objectives translate the mission into strategic milestones for the business strategy to reach. In other words, the outcomes that the organization seeks to achieve. Its strategic objectives will possesses four characteristics which set it apart from a mission statement: a precise formulation of the attribute sought, an index or measure for progress towards the attribute, a target to be achieved, a time frame in which it is to be achieved. Another way of putting these is to say that objectives must be SMART, that is SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound. Specific, ambiguous in what is to be achieved, measurable, specified as a quantity, attainable, within reach, relevant, appropriate to the group or individual to whom it is applied, time bound, with a completion state. The goal structure. The goal structure is the hierarchy of objectives in the organizations. It can be visualized as a diagram. So, objectives performance five functions: planning. Objectives provide the framework for planning. They are the targets which the plan is supposed to reach. Responsibility. Objectives are given to the manager of divisions, department, and operations. These communications to them. Number one, the activities, projects, or areas they are responsible for, the sorts of output required, the level of output required, So, integration objectives are the how senior management coordinate the firm, and provided the objectives handed down are internally consistent. These should ensure goals congruence between managers of the various divisions of the business. Motivations management will be motivated to reach their objectives in order to impress their superiors and perhaps receive bonuses. This means that the objectives set must cover all areas of the missions. For example, if the objectives emphasizes purely financial outcomes, then manager will not pay much heed to issues such as social responsibility or innovations. Now, evaluation. Senior management control the business by evaluating the performance of the manager's responsibility for each of its divisions. For example, by setting the manager a target ROI and monitoring it, senior management ensure that the business divisions make a suitable return on its assets. So you may be familiar with these five functions, often recalled using the acronym PRIME from your studies in budgetary control. Budgetary targets are a good example of operational level objectives in this chapter. So, however, we are working at a higher level by considering the strategic objectives of the firm. Having established where the organization is in terms of its mission, goals, and objectives, it must then determine where it wants to go in the future. This will be influenced by the nature of the external environment and the organizational internal capability. So that's the end of the video, my friends. In the next episode, we explain the techniques to analyze internal and external environment of an organization. Thanks a lot for watching my videos.